is there definitively a best prime ever? Short answer, yes, there is. Long answer is that internally, we weren't able to determine exactly which one that was. You see, I have my own that I think is the best one in the game. Sinep has his own as well. So instead of bringing you just a single one, we're going to give you our top 2 picks for the best prime that is in the game. One from myself, one from Sinep, also here on the BHD8 Gaming crew. If you just like to trust strangers on the internet and you don't care how we arrived at these facts, go ahead and skip forward like 30 minutes in the video. For the rest of you though, here's the scales that we use to measure each one of the primes and come out with the ones that we've determined are our best primes in the game as of November 2022. One of the more heavily weighted variables for both myself and Sinep is the longevity of that purchase. If you do go through the trouble to purchase one of these primes, how long is it going to be beneficial for you? Is it going to be like Prime 𝗂𝗵𝘁, which, spoiler alert, that is not one of the top ones for us, where you're only going to get a little bit of benefit from it and then it's definitely going to cap and you're never going to see any value out of that again? If so, get that out of here. Or is it something that you will get day after day and possibly even year after year's worth of return out of what you've picked up in the game? The next big thing for us is accessibility. How early in a Star Trek fleet commander's career can you pick up this prime? Sorry to Prime Siege Warfare, which isn't available until Operations Level 57, but it's not going to make the cut for this either. The next big thing for us is playstyle. Is this something that's only going to benefit the PvP players or only people that are heavily into mining, or something that's going to benefit all players regardless of how they choose to play on any given day? The next big factor for me is fun. Is this something that's going to make something in the game that is already fun more enjoyable, or take something that you just hate to do in the game and either shelf it entirely, put it on autopilot, or just at least make it less horrible for you logging in every single day? And the last variable for us is actually cost. If it's something that you can pick up free to play, or if they just give you in the instance of prime racketeering, that's not going to be anything that makes it into this cut. We are looking for a way to help people who are trying to figure out how to use their money more efficiently and help them grow in the game long term. So, big disclaimer, of course, this video is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any Sorry, those are the wrong notes. We did our best to put ourselves in these shoes of what we think an average player is, as well as some of the fringe cases that we could think of out there, really any kind of playstyle and people all across the board. We tried to envision as many different player cases as we could while we were researching. But if you are serious and trying to get the best value for your money, we highly recommend you go find a second opinion, another trusted resource. Go talk to somebody else to get an idea from somebody that you know has purchased one of these primes that we're going to mention here. See if they've got some use out of it, because this could change very rapidly. Something could come out next month that would completely alter this list. Check the comment section down below. We have the best comment section on all of YouTube. These guys and girls will continue the conversation long after the cameras have stopped rolling and make sure that we are providing high quality information, fact check us, all those things. So make sure you're checking out those comments after the video. Now, we will be sharing some runners up for myself and Sinep in this video, but since we hate those videos that are like making you wait until the very end before you hit the _1 slot, and despite those people that tried to skip forward a half hour into the video anyways, we're going to go ahead and reward you guys and hop straight into what our top picks are. So, commenters, both friend and foe, crack your knuckles, because here we go. My personal top pick for best prime ever is Prime Syndicate XP. If a player picks this up at Operations Level 27 when it's first available, then every single day after that, 22 hours to be precise, you can hop into the game, click one button, and get use out of this for a very long time to come. It's a very clever player loyalty system that rewards you for the longer that you played the game, but you can double how quickly you will progress through that if you pick up this prime. The top benefits, of course, include brush shards. He's a stat powerhouse. He is a pretty decent mining officer if you want to use him for that. And he's pretty much invaluable on your explorers that are going to go out and map the galaxy for you if you're going to try to push the limits of your warp range. You'll get access to those officer presets a little sooner, which one day might actually work as intended and not overwrite your other officer presets every time you unlock yet another one. I know there's workarounds for that, but this has been in the game for like a year now. Can we please have a fix for that? I digress anyways. There's stat boosts for all of your officers regularly in there. You get boost to your daily rewards, boost to your warp speed, your piercing, your cargo capacity. Like that's enough. There's all sorts of stuff that you'll use out of the Syndicate advancement every single day that you play the game. It's awesome. The faster that you can move through the base level of your reputation gain, the better. If 𝗂𝗶𝘁 were to do something down the road and buff every player's base amount that you'll get out of there, then it should go ahead and double that for you if you have this prime. So as far as I see it, this is semi-future proof. Every single day that you continue to play this game, you will get something for just a button click, and everything else that you do in many instances will get buffed as well, faster than other players who don't have it. Speaking of, I don't have this myself. It is at the top of my shopping list. My brother, who's in Operations Level 35, has this. He has surpassed my Syndicate level, has better benefits than I do. Every single time they run one of those stinking SLBs for Syndicate advancement. He always beats me. He gets better stuff out of those every single time. It's really frustrating. I haven't went ahead and decided to pick this up myself yet, but it is the top pick for me when I do decide to buy another Prime. So it's accessible as early as operations level 27. There's benefits to every single playstyle. You can leverage it with a single button click every single day without feeling like you're compelled to go out and grind to make sure that you're still getting use out of that thing that you bought 3 months ago. So for me, this single purchase ticks all of my boxes. Ticks, not tickles. Get your head out of the gutter. Now, Sinep did not agree with me here. While he does admit that Prime Syndicate XP is one of the top choices, he does not think it is the top choice. He was quick to point out that once you get up to those higher levels in Syndicate XP, that your daily contribution there is more of a drop in the ocean. It's going to take you forever, whether you have this or not, to go ahead and hit that level 35 milestone, which is currently the cap. Probably won't be by the time that you get there, unless you are just spending very hard and keeping up the entire game for the rest of us. Some of you players are out there. Thank you very much for what you do. Probably not watching this channel, but if you are, thanks. So instead, his top pick leverages something that if you're playing the game, if you're going to continue playing the game, you should be doing every single day, regardless of what's going on in the game. But before we get into that, a word from our sponsors. Just kidding. His pick is 𝗵𝗵𝘁 Refinery. We did a video on it just the other day. He picked that thing up for us to see if it had any kind of value, and oh boy, does it. He loves that thing. 600% increase to your daily resources that you get out of both of your swarm refineries there. Not just the resources, but the tokens themselves. That was a big thing for us, is you get 6 times the tokens every single day, which is amazing, especially for you guys that are getting higher up in there and the dilithium is really hard to come by. Like, a lot of people will go out and try to raid just to find somebody who has a bunch of dilithium so they can do their research, because that stuff gets massively complicated. You lower operations level people, you have issues with your par steel. Regardless of where you are in the game, being able to stock up on those tokens means that if you get raided, there is a much easier way for you to come back from that. You're going to come back with 6 times the amount of resources from your swarm refinery. Of course, I'm not in any way saying that this is going to affect all of your tokens everywhere that you get from events and other things. But one of the primary sources of resource tokens for many players, one of the more reliable ways to get them, is by doing your swarm dailies, which you should be doing no matter what. You're pretty much always going to be building up a Franklin or Franklin A at some point in time. Even if you are a player that is way up there and you've went ahead and maxed out a Franklin A, who's to say that 𝗂𝗶𝘁's not going to put a Franklin B or something like that in the game at some point in time and start it all over again? As far as this reads right now, if they were to do anything else to that, it should give you more benefit. And if it doesn't, pitchforks, ladies and gentlemen. And I do want to reiterate, this is a guy who is sitting at the number 9 spot for resources rated on server 63 right now. He's not in any way hurting or desperate for resources, but he already doesn't really care whether he shields. Sometimes he's like, I don't care. I'm not even going to worry about it right now. He doesn't worry about his shield, which is one of the main sources of anxiety for so many people in the game. If he gets raided, he knows he's got the tokens to be able to come back from it. He doesn't want to get raided by any means. I'm not saying that he's just totally going to be shields down all the time, but he doesn't stress over whether he's got shields on or not, because he knows that he can come back from it if he were to get raided, that is. So sitting on a massive mountain of resource tokens is the second best thing aside from actual shield discipline that any operations level player can benefit from, so that you don't have to worry as much about being raided. If you are raided, you can recover. I am glad that he has that. I don't really care if my shield's up mentality. It doesn't have him go hop back into the game real quick and make sure he's doing good and all that stuff. Instead, I can work him extremely hard for the channel so that we can keep pushing out more content for you guys. Anyhow, commenters, make sure you're doing your thing down below to help keep us straight here. Do you agree? Disagree? Would you like to expand on any of the statements that we've made? You know, like the video, do the subscribe thing, all that stuff. We'll move on to our strong runners up here in a moment, but before we do, have you ever had an idea for what you think the best prime research could be in the game, or just a really good prime research that you'd like to see happen in the game? Drop your creations down below for what you think the penultimate prime would be in the game. Whether you think that 𝗂𝗶𝘁 would ever go for it or not, this is just a cool exercise in imagination. If you have any really awesome ideas that you can drop down below that the rest of the comment section can check out, we will probably do a video in the future highlighting some of the best ideas that we've seen out there. Who knows what that could do? Maybe we could end up getting one of your submissions into the game. No promises. I think that would be amazing, though, if one of the BH8 gaming community were able to drop an idea out here for us, either in this channel or on Discord, and we could go ahead and toss it out there, and 𝗂𝗶𝘁 went for it. Assuming it's not something that would, be horrible for all of us. But, it would be really cool for us to go ahead and get that out there. I can say for a fact, Sinep's favorite would be prime credit card efficiency. I know a lot of our APAC brothers and sisters would kill for something like a prime lag reduction. What's the best thing that you got? Drop that down below. I'd love to check that out. So topping my list of runners up is prime survival skills. For the longest time, I recommended players go ahead and pick up prime officers. This is the exact same thing as prime officers. You just get it later on in the game, and you really can't go wrong with buffing all of your officer stats plus 100% to their base. Now, if you already have prime officers and you pick up prime survival skills, assuming you didn't have anything else, which is highly unlikely, then you would have a plus 200% to your base. You're not going to have a multiplicative effect, just like most things in the game. Only your crit damage really is going to get a multiplicative effect. If there's something else, drop that in the comments below, because I am not above being educated at all by you guys. Adding 100% to any of your officers is huge. Remember that you're going to get benefits from away team missions, which you should totally be doing all the time. There's so many good benefits that you get from doing your away team missions. You'll be able to crew your ships more effectively or efficiently, possibly even leaving spots open down below deck so that you can put some awesome lower deck abilities down there instead. Or for officers that scale off of a particular stat, you can totally go ahead and pack those down there. So for instance, your Spock that scales off of your defense, as long as he has morale to recharge your shields, the more defense you can cram down below there, the better. All in all, a very viable choice for something to pick up. The reason we say prime survival skills and not prime officers is because you can get prime officers for free the first time that you max and scrap a 𝗂𝗶𝘁. Prime survival skills is going to take you until you can get to G5 uncommon gas territory before you can go ahead and pick it up from a free-to-play standpoint. I know earlier in the video we said that most things that will have any kind of a free-to-play ability to pick up are things that we want to keep off this list, but it's going to take you so long as a standard player to get to the area that you have enough G5 uncommon gas to go ahead and sink into this research that is probably worth going ahead and picking up earlier in your gameplay if you have the means to do so. Another great one for me that I actually did pick up pretty early on into my gameplay is Prime Borg rewards. This one definitely has a lifespan, but even on operations level 43, I am constantly trying to pick up my faction tokens so that I can go ahead and get my Valdor or tier up an officer or whatever. There's all sorts of things to do. Even once I have all the ships that I want, there's always going to be new officers added to the game, most of which are going to require independent credits, but several of them will be spattered here and there that will require Federation, Romulan, and Klingon faction tokens, which you'll get at a double rate from your Vidar refinery if you pick up this prime. It's great. I use it every single day still, but I do know that it has a timeline that it won't be that effective anymore. Not that there's anything better, but there will probably be times that I'm just like, I don't care that much about 600 faction credits. But right now, I do. Speaking of the Vidar and your Borg, the prime active nanoprobes refining, I think I got that right, is one of the better ones that you can go focus on, because the only way to go tier up those highly sought after Borg officers, of course, beyond having independent credits, is having your active nanoprobes, and being able to get those a little bit quicker is not a bad thing, especially when you are looking at an exorbitant amount of those things to go ahead and get them all the way up to tier 5. The only way you're going to do that realistically is by having this prime unlocked. You do not have to spend real money on it. However, if you get a lot of lucky pulls earlier on for 5 or 6 or anything like that, it may not be a bad idea to go ahead and pick this up so that you can tier them up and get more benefit out of those officers. If you're like Dan and you get really bad luck and you're still sitting at a rank 1, 5 of 11 after almost 2 years into the game, then you don't have to worry about it that much. Another big one for Sinep that he definitely wanted me to include on this list is your Prime Vidar cargo hold. The Vidar is one of the best OPC hunting ships in the game for many players for a very long while, and being able to get more into that hull before you have to return to your base is a big win for many players. If you are big into PvP, that's not a bad one, and I think it's only half the price of most of the other primes, so it's definitely worth picking up if you do a lot of OPC hunting. If you're not that big into PvP, if you're kind of self-sufficient and you don't go mess with other players, not so much, because many players won't get a lot of use out of it for just hitting your Borg nanoprobes. You're going to get most of the use out of it for OPC hunting. Well, at least if you're making the long trips back to your base and not the short trips where somebody else sends you there, in which case it's not going to help you much at all there. So if you're going to get it, try not to get caught by people who are trying to counter hunt you if you're out hunting. Another one that we'll include on this list, I'm a little hesitant to do so, but everybody I've spoke with that has picked up this at any level really likes it quite a bit. I know that gave it away, but that is your faction, whichever one, your Klingon, Romulan, Federation tributes. You get those starting at 20% all the way up to 100%. You have to get them to 5 levels to max them out if you want to. They still have benefit from what I'm hearing from people at any of the levels that you get them to. It will increase your reputation gains with whichever one of the factions you pick it up for. You can get it for all of them if you want to. You get a ration every single day of both reputation without any negative for the other ones, I believe, from what I've heard from people. Comment down below if I'm totally wrong, because I don't want to be spreading that information if it's not the case. But you also get some of the faction credits as well. It's another one of those that you go ahead and pick up, and it will just augment your daily playstyle. Every time that you're out grinding anything, you get that. You'll get some more of your faction credits without even having to go do like I do with my Vidar and make sure that I have the nanoprobes to be able to convert for the faction credits in the Vidar refinery. And hey, if you get more of those faction credits every single day, then that'll go ahead and free you up to be able to go pick up some more of those horrible elite faction recruit packs. I don't know who the heck those are aimed at. I don't know anybody in the game who's like, I can't wait to go ahead and buy those packs. I don't know why they exist, but maybe, just maybe, if you got these and you get some extra credits every single day, you can waste the credits on picking up those horrible packs. Anyway, as always, I can't wait to see how this conversation continues to unfold down below in the comments. I'll be checking that out. I hope that you guys do as well. We did dive super deeply into this topic here, so don't be too surprised when in another week or two we go ahead and just release a video on ranking like every single one of the primes, because we pretty much had to do that anyways to figure out which one should be like the best. You guys know the drill by now. That video is awesome. Subscribe if you've not done so already. Our supporters are amazing. Choose to live, and we'll see you again soon.